Revenge of the Sith is one of the best Star Wars films. Unpopular opinion, I know. But I already rewrote the other two films, so let's try to fit this into that universe. This is another take on Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. It's keeping the same title, whatever. A 7-year skip, which will be fleshed out in an alternate Clone Wars series. The opening crawl would roughly be the same, referring to the fact that the Clone Wars has been waged for nearly a decade, and how the Republic's army stretched so thin that the Mandalorians are attacking the capital of the Republic, Coruscant, which leads right into the best opening sequence of any Star Wars film. The only thing I would change from this sequence is instead of flying these almost TIE fighters, Anakin and Kenobi are flying X-Wings, which explains where the X-Wing came from and how the Rebellion got so many. Plus, they seem more like better evolutions of the old Jedi Starfighter than the almost TIE fighters. Either way, the two make it onto the Invisible Hand, and we get to the lead scene of Shakti, and she gets killed by Darth Maul, who is Grievous in this rewrite. He already lost his legs, and his hatred for Palpatine and Kenobi drove him to lose more and more of himself until, well, he's more machine now than man. Either way, the Jedi cut the floor beneath them, they land in the fuel cell, and now the droids are after them. The two eventually make it to where Palpatine is getting held, and he's getting watched over by Gar Saxon of Mandalore and a new Gunray. Gunray berates Saxon because they were supposed to deliver Palpatine to Mandalore, not call Maul here. But then this is interrupted by the Jedi, who go to fight Saxon as Gunray cowards. Anakin eventually breaks from the fight to rescue Palpatine as Obi-Wan and Saxon are led into the hallway. Palpatine says, "Good, Anakin, good. Kill Gunray." Both of them are shocked at this, but Palpatine rebuts with, "He is the one behind the droid army. He is the one who orchestrated the invasion of Naboo, which eventually sparked into this great conflict. He's too dangerous to be left alive." Anakin says it's not the Jedi way, but Palpatine says, "Do it." Gunray can only choke out a, "Lord Sidious, you promised us," and then he gets slashed down. But no time to process what he just said because Obi-Wan's tossed into the room with the Force by Maul. Saxon gives Kenobi's lightsaber to Maul, and he uses the Force to take Anakin's saber, adds them to his collection, then he takes out the Darksaber and says that his revenge is at hand. But at that moment, a Star Destroyer flies along the side of the Invisible Hand, led by Tarkin, who says, "Prepare the broadside, you may fire when ready." They do so, causing massive damage. It shakes the ship, which gives Anakin enough time to steal back their lightsabers and use the Force to smash the window. Maul and Saxon survive and escape, as the Jedi and Palpatine deal with some gravity and elevator shenanigans and fall in style. They celebrate Palpatine being okay, and Anakin sneaks off to be with Padme. Back on Mandalore, Maul and Saxon arrive, and we cut to a secret room, where Rune Hakun, the new Viceroy of the Trade Federation, is calling Sidious. And Sidious is basically saying that the war is coming to an end soon, and don't worry, you're gonna totally be fine. Anakin has his nightmare and Padme tries comforting him, and this is the first time where you mention Padme being pregnant in the film. The next day, he tells Yoda about his nightmare about Padme's death. Then he goes to Kenobi, and Kenobi tells Anakin about their secret agent in Black Sun, Shizor, leaks some info that the main base for the droid army is on Mustafar, and that Anakin is being placed on the High Council as a temp for Oppo Rancisis until he feels better. He will not be gaining the Master title, and all the other seats are being taken. This understandably upsets Anakin. But either way, Yoda gets sent to Kashyyyk, which I love seeing Wookiee planet, but I think Chewbacca being there is a little too much. Anakin's still upset and tells Obi-Wan, but Obi-Wan says that he's a very important member, because he needs him to spy on the Chancellor. Anakin just tells Palpatine this, and Palpatine says that he needs him to spy on the Council for him, so Anakin's a double agent. Because unlike the rest of them, Palpatine really trusts Anakin and praises him and says that he's the real underdog hero of the galaxy, and he even saved his life. The main masters talk about Anakin, and then we get the deleted scene of the senators talking about Palpatine kind of overstretching. And then the council talks about how a rebel group of Mandalorians wants to speak with the Jedi. And this introduces us to Bo-Katan. Anakin and Kenobi talks to the Night Owls, and they talk about how they need to get rid of Maul as quick as possible. Noting the Separatist invasion of Coruscant, they should try and do something similar to that to Mandalore to liberate it. Kenobi says it's a little too risky. They tried invading it before, but they haven't got that far. The council must vote on if they should do this.
Maul's influence on Mandalore is destroying my people. He murdered their ruler, my sister. I thought she meant something to you.
She did. And still does. But I cannot allow my feelings to cloud my judgment. The council will decide what our course of action will be.
Later, the council meets. Anakin wants to go to Mandalore, but they all vote that Obi-Wan goes instead. Then we get the deleted scene of the formation of the delegation of 2000, who will all later go on to form the Rebel Alliance. Eventually, Kenobi makes it to Mandalore, and then Bo-Katan and Kenobi call up Olmec.
Your time has come, Olmec. We know you're Maul's puppet, and we are coming for him.
Mistress Bo-Katan, the traitor. I should have known you were behind this incursion. Siding with the Republic will make you an enemy in the eyes of the people.
I'm fine with that. You're nothing like your sister.
Saxon, prepare our forces for an all-out attack. Rook, inform the Syndicate of the invasion.
It's been a while since we had a fight like this. Are you ready?
The clones make it into the planet as the Mandos try defending. Kenobi races Cody to the surface. Maul calls up the leaders of the Syndicate to go to Mustafar.
Hello there.
We meet again, Kenobi. Welcome to my world.
The clones show up and blast away the droids. Maul makes a run for it and gets into the weird wheel thingy. Kenobi takes a lizard thing from a Mando, and we get the chase. This is broken up by back on Coruscant. We get the final scene with the delegation confronting Palpatine, where he agrees once Maul is captured or killed, he will return all emergency powers. But after they leave, he tells Anakin to not trust any of them, even Padme. They all have alternative motives. And I guess Tarkin is there, and he agrees with Palpatine. Back on Mandalore, Kenobi chases Maul into the throne room, just for Maul to crush the Magna Guards before Kenobi.
Look at them. So blissfully ignorant.
Care to want to explain what's going on, or would you like to tell it to the council first?
You are the one that I wish to speak with. We were both tools for greater powers.
I'm here to bring you to justice.
Justice is merely the construct of the current power base. My calculations is about to change.
And I assume Darth Sidious is behind it.
He is behind everything. In the shadows, always, but soon. He will reveal himself.
If you surrender now, we can use your army to stop Sidious before it's too late.
Too late? For what? The Republic to fall? It already has, and you just can't see it. There is no justice, no law, no order, except for the one that will replace it. The time of the Jedi has passed. They cannot defeat Sidious.
But together, you and I can.
Maul explains that his hatred for Kenobi is the thing that kept him alive until his brother found him, but soon he came to realize that he needs even more power, which is why he's been trying to get Kenobi to hate him as much as he hates him, which is why he caused so much pain and tragedy towards Kenobi to get them to turn to the dark. His apprentices aren't enough. He needs more Force-sensitive allies if he needs to take on Sidious. So Maul agrees if he helps him take out Sidious. But Kenobi is confused. How does Anakin Skywalker fit into all this?
He is the key to everything.
To bring balance to the Force?
To destroy. He has long been groomed for his role as my master's new apprentice.
You lie.
I'm afraid not to lure him here to kill him, thus depriving Sidious of his prized pupil.
His arms and has like two double-bladed sabers and the dark saber and then Shakti's saber. But then we cut back to Coruscant and we get the Palpatine reveals himself scene. And I'm going to only say this once, but it applies for an entire film. Hayden Christensen could have had a better line delivery, and that would have saved the movie. That definitely applies here. Also in this part, Anakin remembers that new gun ray called Palpatine Sidious. Back on Mandalore, I kind of made Maul the most overpowered character in fiction, so Obi-Wan has some Beskar armor he got from the Night Owls. Either way, the fight leads into the scaffolding at the top of the Dome City. Kenobi loses his saber, but luckily for him, Maul jumps and he actually misses and falls. He drops off his sabers as Kenobi holds him in place with the Force. The Darksaber falls next to Gar Saxon, who takes it, ignites it, and leads the Mandalorians into retreat.
Let me go. You're all going to burn! We're all going to die! You don't know what you're doing!
Back on Coruscant, the four bros confront Palpatine. And we actually remember that Palpatine has two sabers. So he might take one down easily, but the other two should be lasting a little longer. With Mace, other than also getting rid of the weird voice changer they give Sidious, this scene is perfectly fine. Maul gets mostly disassembled and put into a Beskar Force-sensitive prison. Almec is also arrested. Kenobi gets his saber back and promises Bo-Katan to get the Darksaber for her as the battle continues on. Just for Order 66 to happen. Maul's taken out by Cody. And the only thing I would really change from the sequence is I would add a slight hesitation by Anakin for cutting down the younglings. I mean, he still does it, but that slight hesitation still gives him, a little hope for his redemption in 20 years. Either way, the movie continues normally for a bit. We get to Mustafar, we see the Separatist Council convening, and they're talking about how it's weird that none of the Pikes showed up, or the Dathomirians. Anakin shows up and he uploads a thing he got from Palpatine to upload into the computers to turn the droids against the Separatists. Leaders across the galaxy as he's here cutting down the main heads. Palpatine declares the Empire. Savage suits up, calls up the Pike leadership who didn't show up on Mustafar because they didn't trust gathering them all in one place like that, and Savage says it's time to retreat to Kessel. The golden light shall shine over the galaxy. When Yoda confronts Palpatine, Palpatine thanks him for the emergency powers. Without Yoda's executive powers, Palpatine would have never got the ability to use the clones, to never mass produce them, to never use them against the Jedi, to never seize enough power to become an emperor. It's all Yoda's fault. And during their duel, this is our first time in the film seeing Yoda use his lightsaber. Meanwhile, in Mustafar, Kenobi makes it there and confronts Anakin. And we add a part where Anakin tells off Kenobi, saying that he always taught him to look at both sides of the conflicts. And he has. And Kenobi says something like, when it comes to the Force, you can't do something like that. Anakin says, why not? The Jedi's dogmatism blinded them to everything, to Sidious, to the true way to use the Force. Through my passion, I gain strength, so I can protect those that I love. Through that strength, I gain more power. And through that power, I gain victory. And through victory, I break my chains. The Force has set me free. From Tatooine, from the Jedi, from everyone. I'm the one bringing balance to the Force, by freeing the galaxy of the Jedi. And this leads into the best duel out of any of the Star Wars films. But ultimately, this leads into the same results. Yoda goes into self-imposed exile for his shame. Anakin dies, Padme dies, and Vader's born. They're still losing her for reasons they don't realize, which we will definitely imply is Force healing. A dark side move where you can drain life force from yourself or others to put it into self or others. And Palpatine is using this to steal the life from Padme to put it into Vader. The only actual big changes I would do to this scene is that Padme doesn't scream out Luke or Leia, and have Padme's last breath be Vader's first. But either way, the film wraps up the same. The twins are separated for protection by their relatives, but instead of a binary sunset, we get a binary sunrise, because it's a rise of a new hope. That was my Revenge of the Sith rewrite. What do you guys think? Did you like it? Did you not? You have your own ideas? Ultimately, I just wanted to make something entertaining and share my ideas.